Hey everyone, it's Brian, and I want to start with the original post, and then we'll get into some more details. You definitely want to keep it here for this one. My husband and his ex, they have a 12-year-old son together. They broke up 7 years ago, but their breakup wasn't awful at all. They had a mutual agreement that the ex would take custody of their son while my husband would pay for his health insurance and child support. Now, they documented the agreement but never took it to court. It was a private agreement, and they both stuck to their words, preferring no court involvement. Now, when my husband told me this, I had no problem with it. We've been married for 5 years now. Now, last year, his son started living with us. Now, to my knowledge, the non-custodial parent pays the custodial parent. I mean, it makes sense, right? But I never asked my husband throughout this year what the new arrangements for child support were. I didn't know if his ex was paying him or not. Now, since my husband is well off and can raise his son without child support money, I just assumed that he had stopped paying her and that he wasn't getting any child support from her either. However, listen to this now. Last week, we were talking, and he mentioned something about sending child support. Now, I asked him, why were you sending child support? And he said it was per our agreement. I asked him if he had been doing this for the past year since his son moved in, and he said, well, yes. I asked him why he was sending child support money to a woman who isn't supporting a child, and he said, and I quote, well, she needs money for her vacation and stuff. I was like, what? You're spending money on another woman's luxury? His answer was basically, well, why not? And that we are living well even if he sends that money, but my issue isn't the money per se. Since we are living well, in my eyes, my husband is spending money on another woman and putting a child support stamp on it to keep me quiet. Now, the money he is spending isn't going to any child. It's going to her vacation, her clothes, her luxury. I mean, come on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what married man becomes a sugar daddy to another woman? I mean, we've been fighting about it for a whole week now because he's trying to convince me that this is all normal and not cheating and that he has no ties with her. I don't know what to think of this. Okay, so an update. After our heated argument last week, I couldn't let it go. Something just didn't sit right with me. The fact that he was sending money to his ex for her vacations and stuff felt off, you know? And his dismissive attitude only made it worse. So I decided to dig a little deeper. I know something might say this was kind of a breach of trust, but at this point, my instincts were screaming at me that something was seriously wrong. So I started by checking our shared bank account statements more closely. It turned out he had been transferring money to her actually quite regularly. Even more than what he claimed was child support. Now, the amounts vary, but sometimes it was way more than what he had agreed upon for child support. This made me even more suspicious. Then I did something I never, ever thought I'd do. I looked through his phone while he was asleep. I know, but I had to. What I found broke me. There were text messages between him and his ex that weren't just about our stepson. They were intimate messages about how much they missed each other and plans they had for secret meetups and even discussions about their relationship. Now, it was clear as day they were back together, and I had been completely blindsided. I didn't see it. And when I confronted him with the evidence, he didn't even try to deny it. He just looked at me defeated and said, I didn't mean for this to happen. He claimed it started a few innocent meetups for the sake of their son, but it rekindled old feelings. He apologized, but I could see there was no remorse in his eyes, just the regret of really getting caught. So I packed my bag and left that night. I'm staying with a friend right now trying to sort out our emotions, but we've only been married for 5 years. But this betrayal just, it cut so deep. I've already contacted a lawyer to start the divorce process. There's no coming back from this for me. I thought we were building a life together, but clearly I was the only one invested in our marriage. And as for our stepson, my heart breaks for him. I've grown to love him like my own, and I don't want him to feel like he's losing another parent. I'm still figuring out how to navigate that relationship moving forward, but I'm going to try my best to be there for him if he wants me to be. Well, this next story up, guys, starts with me being a 53-year-old female, and I've been divorced from my ex-husband. His name is Larry. He's 54 years old, and we've been divorced now for 6 years. Larry and I have 2 adult children. Steve, he's 27, and Carla, a female, she's 25. And Larry and I met in college when we were both electrical engineering students. We were both very much on the nerdy side and looked apart, that's for sure, but we were very attracted to each other, so I thought anyway. We got married soon after. We graduated and both worked as engineers, but after a few years, Larry decided he wanted to go to law school to become a patent lawyer. Now, in order to look the lawyer part, Larry underwent major glow-up during this time on pretty much all levels. Tailored clothes, fancy haircuts, designer accessories like watches, etc. Along with working out to trade his dad bod for a lean gym bod. Now, during this time, I was having children, raising our small children, while taking care of about 95% of the household matters because of his long working hours, all while working full-time. Now, I admit I did not glow up along with Larry. My own appearance has always been on the plainer side. I'm not overweight, but a bit stocky. I'm 5'5" and 140 pounds. Simple haircut, glasses, practical clothes, not much makeup. Larry loved me as is for about the first decade of our relationship. After he started working as a lawyer, he started to become drawn to more conventionally attractive women, and he had several affairs. When I pressed for counseling, he said that the issue were things like my big nose and post-baby tummy pooch, not things I could really fix with a simple makeover. I was getting organized to ask for a divorce when Carla was hit by a car while riding a bike. She survived and is fine now, but needed several years of intensive surgeries and rehab. Now, in order to provide a unified front for Carla and Steve, Larry and I agreed to stay married and be as cordial as possible. He continued to see other women during this time, but by this time, I was past trying to get him to be faithful. We did separate, and we did divorce after Carla went off to college. Now, Larry is remarried now to a much younger woman. She's 33. Now, in the past couple of years, I've actually decided to focus more on myself, including my appearance, now that my children are grown and out of the house, and I don't have to worry about tiptoeing around a difficult husband. I finally have time and resources to do so. So I did get a nose job and other plastic surgery like Larry had wanted, but I did update and color my hair. I started working out more. I've lost 15 pounds. I got a new wardrobe and actually started dating. I don't have any steady partner yet, but regularly go to age-appropriate singles events and go on dates. Unfortunately, my children detest that new me. In particular, they blame me for the divorce and are angry that I didn't glow up to accommodate Larry, saying I was too selfish and lazy to do so when it mattered. My son Steve is getting married soon and says he's too angry to invite me to the wedding. Carla has gone low contact with me. I had great relationships with both of them until I started my own glow-up process a couple of years ago, which was a few years after Larry had finalized our divorce. Now, Steve and Carla have told me that the only way to fix this, the only thing that would be fair, is to go back to the way I was before, meaning stop coloring my hair, dressing in my former plain, frumpy way, and stop dating. They say they're most upset about the dating and that it's not fair for me to be looking for a new partner. So, am I the a-hole for everything I've done here? For not improving my appearance until after I got divorced? I really don't think Larry would have been faithful to me no matter how much I twisted myself in knots. I felt I did the best I could given the energy and resources that I had, and while it may seem selfish, I do believe I deserve to have my own life now, right? But I am open to other opinions. If I've done something wrong here, let me know. Here's some advice from other people. Is this for real? Why do your kids think they have a say in what you wear? This is so strange. That's not normal, and it's not okay. If you go back to the old you, does your ex go back too? What's the end game here? Because ex is married. Surely the adult whiner's children know this, right? So they think I'm basically rubbing it in my ex's face and theirs that I never cared about him because I couldn't be bothered to fix myself up until after we were divorced. But I've explained that it just had to do with time and bandwidth that I have now, and I'm single and the kids are grown, but they aren't buying it. And no, and of course, the ex doesn't go back. I mean, the kids just think I deserve to be alone and frumpy, I guess, because I wasn't a perfect wife in my marriage. What do you think? Guys, this is Brian. This next story up. I've been with my wife for the past 6 years. I love her a lot, and she's always been my top priority. About 3 months ago, my wife came to me and confessed that she's been having an affair with her coworker for the past 8 months, and she wants a divorce because she fell out of love with me. Now, we both decided that we'll have an amicable divorce since we both have prenups, no matter what the reason is. Now, neither of us is entitled to any support or alimony, and we both keep our assets. I was depressed. I love this woman, and she was with some other man. I mean, I'm going through counseling, and I've even become an alcoholic. So almost 10 days ago, I got far too drunk, and my emotions got the best of me. And I sent text in our group chat. Everyone thought that we're divorcing because the marriage is not working out, but I revealed the truth to everyone. I explained how my wife hurt and betrayed me, and she wanted to hide it somehow, but the word got out to her workplace, and because of the drama, she and her lover got fired. Now she's blaming me that not only did I ruin her career, I also humiliated her and didn't stick to the agreement, and that I was impulsive. And I said, listen, you were the one who ruined me and cheated on me. She kept ranting in her anger. She said she's gonna take me to court. I said, go ahead, but get a job first. I think it pissed her family off, and now everyone is blaming me for ruining her life. Even her friends and family saying that I'm a pathetic man and I couldn't get over the fact that my wife is leaving me, so I ruined her. The only one in her family who comforted me is her cousin. She checks up on me regularly and helps me, but I've always been close to her, and she's like a sister to me always. She's been there before I got married. Now, if I cry, she comforts me. I told her that I pray her boyfriend will be loyal to her and never hurt her. If she's struggling, I'll help her. So am I the a-hole here for not sticking to what we agreed upon? Hey, this next story is a good one, that's for sure. This is Brian. Let's jump into it. I'm a 29-year-old female. Now, my boyfriend, he's 31. We've been together for 7 years, and we've had our ups and downs like any other couple. But overall, we've been very happy. Now, there's one thing that we've always disagreed on. It's how I want to be proposed to. Now, I have PTSD from a traumatic event that happened in my early 20s. Without getting into much detail, it involves a situation where I had my skirt pulled down in a crowded subway platform, and a few men touched me inappropriately while I was trying to pull it back up. Because of this, I've always been very clear with my boyfriend that if he ever proposed, I wanted it to be private. Big public gestures where attention is on me make me extremely anxious and can trigger panic attacks. And I've expressed how important it is for me to feel safe and comfortable during such a significant moment like a proposal. This past weekend, we were out with a group of our closest friends and his parents at a busy restaurant. Then, out of the blue, he got down on one knee and proposed in front of everyone. I was completely caught off guard and immediately felt my anxiety spike. My chest felt tight, and I wanted to throw up. I froze, and all I could think about was how overwhelmed and exposed I felt in that very moment. I ended up telling him, I can't right now, no, and I ran out of the restaurant. We hadn't ordered yet. I Ubered home and just cried for a few hours. Now, when he got back to my apartment, he was furious and accused me of embarrassing him and making him look foolish in front of our friends and his family. Now listen, I tried to explain that I wasn't rejecting him, but I had specifically asked for a private proposal due to my PTSD. He said this was positive and it shouldn't have mattered if I was feeling a little anxious. I should have pulled up my big girl pants and just said yes and moved on instead of humiliating him in front of all the people in the restaurant. Now, he's not speaking to me, and our friends are divided. Some say I should have just gone along with it to spare his feelings and talk to him afterwards. Others think he was in the wrong for disregarding something so important to me. I mean, I feel terrible for how things turned out, but I also feel like he ignored my boundaries and put me in an impossible situation. So, am I the a-hole?